As soon as it starts, we'll. All right. What's up, guys? Welcome to the NSL ASL. This is going to be your. Those of you who've been along with us know what this is. We do it every year. It's I guess our introduction video. Pretty much what we're going to do is discuss some of the new rules, harp on some of the rules from last year we haven't seen, discuss some of the new features we've added to the chat. So before we go forward, let me say that I am the owner of NSL July 4th. Down there is the owner of ASL Rabbit. If you have any problems with either league, though, feel free to contact either one of us. We're very interchangeable when it comes to dealing with any of the league. We go through each other when we need to decide something, and so pretty much any situation can be solved with either him or me. It just doesn't matter. Either league, go to one of us. A little bit about us. Anybody knows we started out as NSL, I think 7 years ago now, Rabbit. Is it 7 or 6?
I
7?
think it's 7, yeah.
Okay. And we've been going strong. We have a vision of what we want. That doesn't mean everybody's included in our vision, but our NSL members all are, and hopefully we can get a player too. Our plan right now is to start next week, I think September 10th when the patch drops and the week 1 roster update drops. So there's that. So before we start, you got anything you want to say real quick, Rapid, about us?
No, just welcome everybody, and just to further clarify, ASL I think this is the 5th year for ASL, and they've always been like a feeder league for NSL to help to develop folks, but we decided to walk away from that this year and just have 2 full leagues, sister leagues. Of course, anybody from ASL, if there is an opening in NSL, we'll look to some of our better guys there, and we don't mean better by your 16-0 every season. We're talking about your simness, your activity in chat, and sometimes we may need help with things along the way. Folks that are willing to lend a hand. So there'll still be that opportunity, but you won't have to give up your team in ASL. It's just I think it'll be better for both leagues in the long run.
We'd actually prefer you don't give up your team in ASL because we need the quality members in there also. So you can also be a member of NSL, but we'd not like you to drop ASL for NSL. ASL is going to be its own thing. So we'll be able to fill NSL, no worries. So I wouldn't worry about that. But ASL, as long as you're going to be a sim opponent, a lot of people last year were upset because they got to year 3 or 4 and their team was built and they liked them. They didn't want to give them up, but we had to bring in more people. You don't have to do that anymore. That's your team in ASL. You're running with that all year long. Yeah. Next year you'll do the draft again and go for it. Starting on that, let me clarify in the chat. We have 2 leagues for anybody that doesn't know. It might be a little confusing at first, but I think we'll be able to get through it. The reason why we're doing it is because we have a good number of NSL members also in ASL. And the chat in ASL last year was a little dead, more dead than we would have liked it. So our thought process here is to combine the leagues and have 50 members instead of 30 and 15, or however many the math is. But it's going to cause a little confusion at first, but I think if you focus on your messaging for your game, we'll be able to handle it. So keep in mind, NSL is going to be with an N or an NSL in their name. ASL is going to be with an A or an ASL in their name. So whatever team you're looking for, make sure you type in or find the A or the N for that team.
There's also the team list links on the side there. If you can't absolutely not find it, if you go scroll down on the channels in the server, there's one for NSL teams and ASL teams, and it has the team name and the person's either gamer tag or what they're known as. You can come into the main general chat and say, "Yo, who's Diego?" If you can't find, because I think that's who I've got his down as. I may have his GT as well, but that's where you'll be able to find it. But I think just about everybody, I haven't seen anybody that doesn't have it on there. It wouldn't be obviously who they were. So hopefully we're good on that end.
So it should be pretty simple. Hopefully it's going to be a quick transition. I think in the long run it's the better move because we're going to have more league chat. We're already seeing more league chat from both ASL and NSL. So some of you new guys don't really seem to be jumping in yet, but I hope you find this to be your home and eventually also join into our chats. So that's the first thing. As long as we're in the chat, let's go ahead and go over some of the new features in that. click on it. You should have access to either NSL or ASL or both if you're in both. So if I missed you for some reason, let me know. I don't believe I did, but if you go in there, you'll see the dual league announcements for both. That's going to be if both leagues need an announcement, which pretty much so far that has been that. You're going to see something called any gameplay or salary cap questions, and that is just literally if you have a question, if you need help with your salary cap, if you need any help at all with anything in our league, salary, any question at all, post it in there, and I, Rabbit, somebody in NSL that's been here a long time will help you out. Don't be afraid to get salary cap help. As a matter of fact, we prefer you get salary cap help as soon as possible rather than wait and say you can't fill your roster, and then we got to go through 5 or 6 different things. So make sure you go ahead and take advantage of that. We also have a link in there, and I don't know a lot of people use it. It's called Trades and Data Links. It's not trades anymore, so I got to actually check that out. But there's a lot of good data in there. There's some real-life NFL data in there, analytical data in there for how we base some of our rules off of. If you're curious, we have all our past Super Bowl winners for ASL, NSL, the records for ASL and NSL. Picks owed, which I'll upgrade this year. So if you need to know what picks you're owed, it's going to be in there. Salary cap penalty calculators in there. So if you're not sure what you're going to cut a guy, what it's going to look like in 2 years, salary cap penalty calculator is going to be there. Those are all very useful links in the trade and data links. So also submit player of the week. Rabbit here makes our players of the week
Videos.
Yeah.
And it's real easy, guys, to post that in there. All you have to do is go to like Xbox DVR, xboxclips.com, search your gamer tag after you've recorded the actual highlight on your machine. Go there and search your name, and then you'll see all the clips that you have recorded. You just copy the URL from the top, and you can post it right in here. And then every week or so, I'll go through and pull the best plays of that week, and then put them into a video and then post them in here, and normally in general chat too. So, but it's real easy on how to do that. Some people have had problems in the past just figuring it out, but when, it's real easy once you do it a couple times. So.
Yeah. Also, if you use Twitch, it's also pretty easy. You just clip that moment out. A lot of people, if you use Twitch, most people already know how to do that, but you can do it from Twitch also.
Yep, that's true.
All right. Now to go to the individual league things. There's a few things different in here than we did last year. Last year we had a trade form. It needed to be upgraded. They did a lot of changes in there, so it doesn't get emailed directly to us anymore. On top of the minimum amount of submissions I could have at one time, we decided to go away from that. So we added something called the submit a trade for both leagues, so NSL or ASL. So if you want to submit a trade, you're going to go to that, submit your team, just pretty much submit the trade and all the information from before. So that's going to be the players involved, their age, position, teams, and cap penalty. So for all involved. And then we have one below that called accepted trade. So once we accept it or deny it, we'll put it down there in the accepted trade. And then you'll know. Go ahead.
I was just saying, there's no takebacks. Once you submit that and submit a trade, it's going to go to our trade party. So be sure that both teams are aligned on what the terms are before you submit that trade.
Yeah, that's a good thing. There is no reneging on trades. We've had some people who feel they got gypped out of the trade a little late, or once the trade gets posted, they're like, "Oh, that's not a good trade," and they want to go back on it. If you want to ask if it's a good trade or not, there's tons of people with knowledge in this league, and go to the questions. Go to me or Rabbit. We'll tell you whether it's good. None of us are going to get you gypped. I promise. We're not about that in here. I think our admins and trade committee members and me and Rabbit are all very have a lot of integrity when it comes to this thing, and at points we'll hurt ourselves to make sure that integrity stays in this league. And so
yeah, and the same thing goes if someone does submit a trade that is way lopsided, it will not get passed. We'll let you know. And normally we'll try to give feedback. If you're offering a third rounder, we're like, no way, you need to at least do a second or a third and a fourth. We'll most of the time give you that kind of feedback as well. So
Very true. All right, so last thing we got in here, it looks like is, all right, we have one more channel that's not from last year, and it's called the NSL Simmed Game channel. It's also available in ASL. So what that's going to be, and this is a problem we've had in the past, is if your game needs to be simmed, if you need a force win, or if you're given a force loss, any of that information you need to post in there. So, and I'll erase it every week. It'll take probably like 2 or 3 seconds, but that's going to ensure that we know what games are simmed or not. So let's say that you disconnected 3 times and someone was up. You need to post that in there, disconnected 3 times, force win, Steelers, Jags, whoever. Now on the flip side of that, we might go looking for you at first, but this is going to be what's expected of you going forward. This helps us so much when it comes to advancing every week. So this is going to be highly expected of you to post in there whether or not you have a sim or not. I shouldn't have to come looking for unsimmed games within 4 hours of advance. And if it's not in there and you get a loss because you didn't post it in there, that's not me or Rabbit's fault. It's going to be a straight sim. And if you get too many of those, we're going to come asking you why you're not playing your games also. So, Rabbit, I know you've seen this. Go ahead. I know you probably have something to say about this too. You
Yeah,
have.
yeah. I mean, that's just the worst thing is trying to chase down games. The last 2 or 3 hours before an advance, you're trying to figure it out, and we want to give people the benefit of the doubt. But it comes to a point if in the past, if nobody's replied back, then obviously nobody cared. So then we just sim it, and then somebody gets pissed and like, well, so and so said that they were going to tell you. I was like, well, now we have a channel that you'll go in. And you need to be sure if your opponent says, okay, I'll post it in there, best follow up and make sure that he did, because if they didn't and you get the force loss or whatever because of it, too bad, so sad. So,
And you can see if they posted it in there. It's available at everyone. All you gotta do is click in there and be like, hey, it's not in here. Let me post it real quick. That's on you guys, and that's gonna help us out. That's gonna help advances go quick. It's just gonna help out the league in general. So I hope you guys take advantage of that, and we don't have to come chasing down games because we won't after a certain point. Like I said, probably be a learning curve of 1 or 2 or 3 weeks, but after that, we're not gonna ask anymore. It's just too many games for us to chase down. So. All right, so that's it with our new chat. I think we've gone over that. Now we have a couple new rules we'd like to go over. Rabbit, why don't you go ahead and you can break down the rules. You're the one that writes the rules generally.
sure. The first one, and it might have been fixed a little bit this year, but first off, you can't manually bring both safeties into the box. If you're going to bring one in there, you do have to user him. But this year, we're saying if that guy is in a deep blue, you cannot bring him into the box like that, because we saw too many times last year that they just peel off and were able to catch up with the route, and that's just not really happening in real life the vast majority of the time. So, you can't manually bring both safeties in. That's already been a rule. And if you do bring one in, you do have to user him, but he cannot be in a blue zone. So, um, that's where we've kind of evolved that rule into. So I think it will help. I think that the change of direction and the kind of nerfing of the user on defense, it will help some with that, but we're still not going to change it and just keep that
Yeah,
out of the game.
I still think with a good enough user, it's still possible to almost break the game, shut down the run with a safety, and play the deep ball,
Right.
because safeties have generally not been nerfed as bad as linebackers this year.
Right.
So the other rule has been a rule. That's not anything surprising. You're not moving around 5 or 6 players. If you're moving around somebody that's not with with the D-pad, a motion of some sort, then you have to be using them anyways. So that's already been a rule. This is just a new rule we saw last year about it. At the end of the year, specifically, people bringing safeties down into the box, covering the run, covering the pass.
Right.
Second rule, it's going to be written yet. So I guess I can't really ask you to say it because I haven't written it yet. But what it's going to be is on 3rd and 4th down and 7 or longer, we're going to allow you to put a defensive end in the nickel or quarter, any pass rush formation you want, very much like the real NFL has been doing lately. For example, 3rd and 7, I'm going to use my team as an example, which I can do now. We weren't going to be able to do that until we trade for Ngakwe. But since we got Ngakwe have Infeni Adenabo, who is a pass rusher. He's not very good at Madden, but in real life situations last year when we had Evers and Griffin, Adenabo would come into the D tackle spot on 3rd and 7 and longer, and pass rush from there. And a lot of teams are doing stuff like that. So on 3rd and 7 or 4th and 7, or probably will allow it also within like 2 minutes, or somebody's trying to drive with no timeouts, that'd be another time we would allow it. But that doesn't mean every nickel formation is allowed a D end at the defensive tackle spot. This is going to be very situational. So if you're not comfortable making sure that you're following the rules, don't do it. But if you're somebody who is able to switch out people and you feel comfortable on 3rd and 7, you're going to know to take this guy back out on 2nd and 5 when you're running nickel, feel free. We're going to allow that rule. I think, like I said, the real NFL does it. We're not trying to limit what the real NFL does. We're trying to simulate it. So my only warning about that is please make sure you take that guy back out when it comes to if it's 2nd and short, 3rd and short, any situation that's not a guaranteed passing situation, essentially. So, Rabbit, you want anything to add to that?
Nope, I think that summed it up pretty quick. And just a good point there at the end is be sure and change it out. You know, if it's 2nd and short or if they get a first down, you need to change it back out. So.
Okay. Yep. So just a little more add-in, trying to help pass rush a little bit here, but at the same time, make sure you know what you're doing and you're following our guidelines.
Yep. Just a couple things as far as just general rules that we reinforce every year. The QB running rule, most folks that have been here for a while know this, but we do have some new guys. So just to let you know, you can't leave the pocket or rush the quarterback unless you are chased out by a defender or a design rollout or play action. No hike and haul. You need to be chased out of the pocket. You can still run with the QB. If it's a QB rollout, a play action pass, and it's wide open, you can just take off and keep running. You can also run between the tackles. So if you are in a pass and you drop back and there's nobody open and it kind of just opens up where they pushed all the rushers to the right or left side, you can run up that middle lane as long as you're between the tackles. So that's one that especially new folks have a little bit harder time remembering. So just be sure that you are, trying to follow that there. So
to add on to that, the spirit of that rule also doesn't mean you can hike and haul immediately through the line either. Even though you're allowed to run between the tackles, you shouldn't be hiking and then immediately running forward in between this. It's a quarterback run. We've seen some of that last year too. Just adding on to that, it is allowed. You got to look for a couple receivers first, at least one. You can't just hike, oh, nobody's open, run.
right.
Give it at least a receiver to not be open before you take off.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I don't know if it's even in the game this year, but no playmaker of any sort's allowed. I haven't used it in 4 or 5 years, so I don't even know if it's still in or not. No custom playbooks, obviously. Hurry up and no huddle is only allowed under 2 minutes in the first half, or if you're down in the fourth. If you are behind your 45, you cannot kick it out of bounds. So, a lot of folks, if you're on your 30, you can kick it, and especially if you got the wind, you can kick it out of bounds at the 10 or the 5, even if you've got good aim or luck. That just doesn't happen in the NFL. So we made the rule last year towards the end that if you're behind your 45, you cannot punt it out of bounds. So
a little bit of back information on that. Less than 10% of NFL punts go out of bounds. Just throwing that out there.
Right.
Compared to Madden, where if you let people, it'll be 90%.
Yep.
The reasoning, it's really hard to control a punt out of bounds. You can't accurately kick the ball like you can in Madden. But just a little bit, that's what the rule is there for, in case you're wondering.
Position changes, no safety to linebacker changes are allowed. So let's not ask, some people have even brought up, well, he played it in high school or college. We're not going to go back and find that if he, there might be some very few exceptions, but I don't really see any. So
maybe Isaiah Simmons. I don't know about. He's going to be a tough one to judge.
Right. We'll maybe see what he does in the actual NFL season before we allow that. But interior D line, interior offensive line, edge rusher to edge rusher, left or right ends, those are fine. Just be sure and let us know. Be sure that if you do change, X factors probably not going to be able to change because that'll re-roll everything there. So
Yeah, X Factor or Superstars will not be moving positions through edits at all. Matter of fact, that's strictly prohibited, and if you do it, that's going to be considered cheating as a reroll. So that's not going to be allowed. You are going to be able to move them if you're switching from a 3-4 to a 4-3. For instance, if you want to run the Buccaneers in a 4-3, Shaq Barrett can play defensive end if you're switching that, but you're not going to be able to edit him. You're just going to have to be that in the depth chart. Also, to add on to what Rabbit was saying, all position changes need to be go through us. So if you have a position change, no matter how simple or stupid it is, send it to us so we can say okay. I know that's going to seem annoying, but I promise I'll get back to you, and I promise we'll do it. We did this last year in NSL. It worked out great and allowed a lot of realistic NFL positions. Also, if you're switching from a 4-3 to a 3-4 or vice versa, you got to get all those position changes approved with us. This is really only a problem at the beginning of the year, but it's going to be about 4 or 5 people that want to switch what their thing is. So if you need to, go in the rules. We have a list of who can play what position. So you're not going to have 300-pound ends in a 4-3. You're not going to have 250-pound D tackles in a 3-4. Or you're not going to have, 250-pound ends in a 3-4.
I think we've got it set that generally in a 3-4 that edge rushers are more than 280 pounds, and the D line needs to be 300 pounds. Normally, I believe is what we've just about been said.
And in the 4-3, one of the D tackles has to be above 300, and the other one has to be above 280.
Yeah.
So that's all stuff you can come to us with, though, and we'll help you through all that and get you approved. So, any other rules?
Scheduling, just because it seems to, as the newness wears off and the season goes on, folks have a harder time either reaching out, both of the parties, or somebody reaches out at 10 p.m. on advance night, and then you don't reply back until the day of advance, like 2 days later. Right now we do have, somebody needs to reach out within 24 hours, and the other person needs to reach out within 12 after getting that. I think that's still a little lax, but it's just hard to say 12 hours after 10 p.m. at night advance. So the main thing is, when it's advanced
night. They should both be reaching out within 24 hours. Yeah. So you shouldn't be it shouldn't be a 36-hour window.
Right.
It should be, if they reach out, so it should be 24 hours for both of y'all. It should be hitting up.
And I know, go ahead. No, you go ahead, bud.
If you contact somebody on advances Wednesday at 10, so let's say it advanced that Monday and advances again Wednesday. So Tuesday at 10 o'clock, if they haven't hit you up, and I'm going to look at that as a force win for you. I think Rabbit will look the same for ASL.
If you've reached out well before then, yeah.
Yeah, if you want to be in a true simulation league structured, you have to help us out by also being structured and playing. If you don't want to play in a franchise league after you're 3-5 or 2-5 or however, if you start losing and don't want to be a part of it, this isn't the league for you, man. We have a lot of people that have had bad years and keep playing and play all their games, and it's disrespectful to them for you not to play when they're going through it. Nobody likes having a losing season. I've had a 3-13 season here before myself, and I lost like 8 games by the last second of the last second plays, and it was terrible. I was like, this is the worst season ever, but I played every one of those games. We expect you to do the same. If this is really what you want your hobby to be, then show us, play your games. Right. That goes for NSL and ASL. Some NSL was a little lackluster at the end too. On top of that, we're asking for 5 seasons. That's what we run here. So once we do 5 seasons, you're off the hook. If we want to do a 6th, and we might, you never know, maybe Madden is great. But if you want to, if we ask for you to do 5 seasons, if you can do 5 seasons, that's all we're requiring. 6, if we do 6, that'll be on us if you don't want to play anymore.
And that won't be held against you if you don't want to play anymore either. We understand. I mean, that's why we keep it to 5. We end up finishing around mid to late May. I mean, it gives everybody a little break from Madden, especially July and I and any admins that have been helping out. That break's needed. So
Yeah, in
uh,
summer, spend time with your family.
yeah,
That's one of the benefits, in my opinion, of this league is we give you that summer to hang out with your family before the next Madden drops. So
yeah,
a lot of leagues will try and push forward, and you're just not having fun.
yeah, exactly. Um, Analytics, July touched on this earlier. It's in the trade and data links channel. Be sure and check those out if you haven't already. That kind of gives you the guidelines of what the percentage of running you need to be doing a game, or passing, or how many yards per catch your wide receivers can have, and things like that. These are the things that we're going to go out there and look at every, you know, 4 to 8 weeks normally. Normally we'll give it at least six of each season, and if people are outside of that, you guys are going to get a suspension. So, and then if we have repeat offenders, not exactly, maybe not the same person, the same player on the game, but the same person the same owner who's controlling those players, and those will continue to increase as far as the games that player may be suspended. So, and if you have gameplay comments, or complaints, try to talk that out with the person you're playing respectfully. Don't be an ass and send a rude message. Just say, "Hey, I thought the rule was this," or "Hey, have you noticed that you're running the same inside zone play, once every 3 or 4 times?" Sometimes people will just get zoned out. Maybe they're just clicking, choose Madden, and they're not realizing what's going on. But that doesn't give the other person the right to strike out, because some people can be asses on there. So respectfully reach out, try to talk it out. If you can't talk it out, then by all means bring it to us. You need to be sure that you have either statistical evidence. If they ran it 45 times and threw it 5 times, we can see that in the game stats. Or if it's something different from that, that's a certain play or something, you need to be sure that you're getting some sort of video footage of it.
Yeah, let me also say, don't bring it to chat. That's going to be one thing that'll get you out of here, is if you're starting shit in chat, even if you're in the right. That's not your responsibility to go to chat. We don't accept that. I will give out probably one warning, and then that'll be it for you. If you're because in our opinion, that's a troublemaker, and we're all like we said earlier. This is 8 leagues running, man. We've been these leagues together. We're adults with families. We're not here for kid shit, and that's exactly what being in chat and arguing is: kid shit, immaturity. Uh, it's not what we're about. So that's plain and simple. Another selling point of the league: we're adults here, and we know, we like to be mature. For the most, I'd say we get along great, and we'd like to keep it that way.
Yep.
So, any other rules you want to go over real quick?
I think that's all, man.
All right, guys. Held it down to 27 minutes. I asked that you watch the video. Let me say that if you don't watch this video, you're probably not going to know. But not watching this video, not knowing the rules, is not acceptable. It's not an acceptable defense for breaking them. Um, so if you switch positions and you say you didn't know, that sucks. But I asked every member before they joined an ASL to read the rules before they joined, and every NSL member better damn well know that rule by now, because that's been a rule for over a year. So, and somebody even got suspended last year for that. So, every rule is your responsibility to know. You need to look it up. This video is to help you, but everything we've mentioned is going to be in the rule book. Even the third down one that's not yet, that'll be in the rule book. But I'm going to post it, tag it, make sure you guys know it's there. But every other rule, everything we've talked about is the rule book. So, other than that, I think that we're good.
That's all I
Let's
have.
have a good. Yep. Let's start. Hopefully, we get to start in the 10th and have a good season, boys.
Yep. Good luck to
All right.
everyone, but trending now. I hope you lose every game.
All right, guys. Peace.
Just picking. See y'all.